but also softball is a very sorority kind of feel. Well, I'm friends with you. I have no problem sharing information, but if I don't like you, I'm not going to share the information. Go fuck off. Like that's that's the bad thing about softball is it unless you're friends with people, like nobody's going to share anything. I think we're slowly getting better, but there's a lot of gatekeepers in softball that want to keep it that way. So that's kind of a harsh take, but I
That's
know a
a
lot of people would agree.
And honestly, I get a feel of that. Being in the baseball side, I do at times get a feel of softball being like a little protective of their game and kind of uh, I'd say want, but like there's a little bit of a desire to be different than baseball to have their own identity. And my question to you is because again, I am a baseball person. I'm learning softball. I think the game is obviously, in my opinion, it's the exact same minus the fact that pitcher throws underneath the arm instead of it's on top. And it's the idea that there's obviously going to be different angles created because of that. And we might have to match different planes in terms of how we're receiving. But what are for you as catchers softball compared to baseball? What are some variations that are different that we as instructors that are kind of doing both may have to look into?
I mean, I think the workload capacity. I'm not super familiar with baseball per se. I mean, what's crazy is I played baseball when I was a kid, but I'm 34, so times have changed. Like these girls are playing 7 to 9 games in a weekend. I don't think baseball on the travel ball side is doing that. I mean, are they? Are they playing 7 to 9 games?
I mean, not that many. There's not nearly as many games going on in baseball, but I'll tell you the softball thing is out of control. The amount of games, and the other piece is the amount of games that these girls catch. And I feel like there's again, kind of the idea of like some pushback. Like hey, these girls are tough and they can catch 6-7 games
Grinding.
in a weekend, and it's like, well, yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, they are tough, and that's great. I think that they definitely can do it. Should they do it? That's another question.
Yeah, I preach at my workshops because I travel around the country, and I really hammer to parents. I'm like, dude, like, I understand that you want your kid to be the all-star and, catch all the time because, you're shitting out money for training and gear and this, that, and the other. But it's just like, I tell girls, I was like, do you want to be fresh, game seven, as opposed to grinding it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like if you're playing in game seven, there's a solid chance, like, hey, you're playing for something, whether you're a ring chaser or not, but like the workload capacity is just absolutely just terrible across the board because I see it on Twitter. So, I encourage parents to be like, hey, like if your kid takes a game off, it's not the worst thing in the world. It doesn't mean your kid sucks. Your kid deserves a break, and especially for us right now, because I could be wrong, but Florida doesn't have like a law in place that you can't play travel ball during high school season. I know certain states it is just shut down. You get caught playing travel ball during high school season, you're suspended. I believe Ohio does that, but I think Georgia.
We're like that out here.
Yeah, I mean, like last year, I had a kid, play JV, and they were like, "Well, we still want to get game reps in because JV wasn't doing much for her." So they played travel ball on the weekends. That's 7 straight days of just nonstop catching, throwing, hitting, this, that, and the other, and it took a toll, So the game thing is just something different that stands out between baseball and softball. Obviously, base runners, guys can leave whenever they want. Girls on base can't leave until release, but good base runners are leaving close to foot plant because it's just so damn quick. So there's some differences there. Obviously, our bases are a little bit shorter. Our game is faster. I mean, shit, we can almost get 2 games in over a course of one game. Um, but again, like you said, the pitch trajectory, like understanding those things. Once you identify those things, I it's interchangeable. You could teach softball, I could teach baseball. If you can understand the differences from that and just have it up front from the get go, catching's catching. Like I've preached that for a very, very long time. You know that I'm not popular in the baseball world, but a lot of baseball catching instructors know who I am. And we don't have beef because, I understand what your game's about. You guys understand what my game's about. So there's no conflict of interest, I guess you could say. But I mean, like I said, the game thing just really stands out with the differences in baseball and softball, especially on the prep side. Like it's crazy and I hate it.